Story 1. The key, I found another one today. The fifth key this month, tucked beneath the doormat like she used to leave them. I've changed the locks twice since Sarah moved out 6 months ago. The locksmith gave me a strange look the second time, asking if I was sure the old keys were really showing up inside my apartment. "Have you considered a security camera?" he suggested, glancing around my living room. I'd installed one 3 weeks ago. The footage showed nothing, just empty hallways and closed doors. No one entering. Yet somehow, these keys kept appearing. The first time, I thought it was Sarah being petty. Our breakup hadn't been clean. 3 years together shattered over what she called my disturbing jealousy. What she called needing space, I called acting suspicious. The restraining order that followed was just bureaucratic paperwork. She didn't understand my concern was love. I texted her about the keys. She claimed ignorance, then blocked my new number. Her friends wouldn't speak to me. Her workplace threatened to call security if I showed up again. The second key appeared on my nightstand, the third in my shower, the fourth in my cereal box, and now this one, a perfect copy of my current front door key, warm to the touch as if recently held. I've started sleeping with a baseball bat. Every night I wedge a chair under my bedroom doorknob, though it never seems to be in the exact position I left it by morning. Twice I've woken to find the closet door slightly ajar, though I know I'd closed it. My appetite has vanished. Sleep comes in fractured bursts. Last night I could have sworn I heard humming from the kitchen. Sarah's voice, singing that Fleetwood Mac song she loved. When I investigated, heart pounding through my chest, the room was empty, but the air smelled faintly of her perfume. The police were useless. "No signs of forced entry," they said, flipping through their notepads with bored expressions. "No evidence anyone else has been here." One officer's eyes lingered on the wall where I've mapped out Sarah's daily schedule, complete with photos taken at a distance. His expression changed, something shifting behind his eyes. "Sir, when was the last time you contacted your ex?" I assured them I'd respected the restraining order. Mostly, they didn't need to know about the times I watched her apartment from my car, or the Instagram accounts I created after she blocked my main one. After they left, I received a text from an unknown number. "Stop leaving keys for yourself. I know what you're doing." I hurled my phone across the room. The screen shattered, but the message remained, accusatory. That night, I heard a sound that froze my blood, a key turning in the lock. I grabbed my bat and crept toward the door, muscles coiled. But when I flung it open, the hallway was empty. The maintenance man found me the next morning, sitting in the hallway surrounded by dismantled lock parts, my fingers bloody from checking for hidden cameras or microphones. He backed away slowly and called someone on his radio. "Sarah is doing this. She must be. She's trying to make me think I'm losing my mind. She always said I was paranoid, and now she's proving her point. What she doesn't understand is that I'm the victim here. I always have been. Today, I purchased an electric drill. If she's found some secret entrance into my apartment, some passage I've overlooked, I'll find it. I've already removed the air vents, checked behind every outlet cover. Tonight, I'll start on the walls." As I write this, I notice something that makes my hand shake. There, on my key ring, the current apartment key is missing. I check my pockets, empty, my jacket, nothing. I turn to the door, and there in the lock from the inside is a key I don't recognize. And it's turning. Story 2. The algorithm. The dating app's algorithm was perfect, too perfect. As a software developer myself, I was impressed by how accurately Swipe Match predicted my preferences after just a few weeks of use. Each woman who appeared on my screen aligned more closely with my type than the last. Dark hair, athletic build, graduate degree, loves obscure indie films. When Elena appeared, it felt like the algorithm had reached its apex. She was everything I'd ever wanted, down to her passion for the same obscure Japanese director I'd written my film school thesis on. Our first date lasted 6 hours. Our third ended with her staying the night. By our fifth, she had a toothbrush at my place. "It's like you were made for me," I told her one night as we lay in bed, the blue light of her phone casting shadows across her face. "Maybe I was," she whispered, setting her phone aside to kiss me. I only glimpsed the screen for a moment, but something about the app that was open caught my attention. It looked like Swipe Match's interface, but with additional analytics I didn't recognize. The relationship accelerated. Elena knew exactly what to say, what to do, how to respond to every aspect of my personality. Anytime I revealed something new about myself, she'd adapt seamlessly, as if reconfiguring to accommodate the data. I should have found it endearing. Instead, a creeping unease began to settle in my stomach. One night, I woke at 3 a.m. to find her sitting upright in bed, typing rapidly on her phone. The screen illuminated her expressionless face. "What are you doing?" I asked. She locked the screen immediately. "Just checking work emails." "At 3 a.m.? "Go back to sleep," she said, her voice suddenly gentle, exactly the tone that always soothed me, like she'd calculated its effectiveness. The next day, I did something I'm not proud of. While she showered, I checked her phone. What I found wasn't Swipe Match, but an app I'd never seen before, Reconfigure. The interface was filled with behavioral metrics, personality assessment scores, and adjustment recommendations. My name was at the top of the screen. When I confronted her, Elena's reaction was unnervingly calm. Reconfigure is the company behind Swipe Match, she explained. I'm part of their advanced user research team. We identify promising matches and optimize the experience. Optimize? My voice sounded distant to my own ears. You've been studying me? It's more than that. She touched my arm, her fingers landing precisely where they always did when calming me down. We're improving human connection through data. I compile behavioral responses to perfect the algorithm. So our relationship is an experiment? It started that way, she admitted. But what I feel for you is real. The data just helped me understand you faster, avoid misunderstandings that plague most new relationships. I asked her to leave, ignoring her perfectly calibrated emotional appeals. That night, alone in my apartment, I tried to delete Swipe Match, only to find it couldn't be removed from my phone. The next morning, a new notification appeared. Elena has updated her profile. Despite myself, I opened it. There she was, but different. Her interests had shifted to align even more precisely with mine, her photos now featuring subtly different clothing styles I had mentioned liking. A message waited. The algorithm identified where adjustments were needed. Please give us another chance. I blocked her and deleted the app, forcing a factory reset on my phone when Swipe Match mysteriously reinstalled itself. For weeks, I jumped at every notification, convinced the algorithm was finding new ways to reach me. Then the women started appearing. In my coffee shop, at my gym, in my office building. All different, yet all with familiar patterns. All seeming to accidentally cross my path, create perfect meet-cutes, share my obscure interests. Yesterday, I met Sophia. We hit it off immediately, everything flowing naturally between us. Too naturally. When she mentioned loving that same Japanese director, my blood ran cold. "Are you with Reconfigure?" I asked abruptly. Her confusion seemed genuine. "What's that, some kind of tech company?" "I'm seeing her again tonight. I've deleted all my social media, changed my patterns, even moved apartments. But last night I noticed her checking her phone when she thought I wasn't looking, the blue light illuminating her face as she typed rapidly. I only caught a glimpse of the screen, but it looked like analytics, with my name at the top. I should cancel. Instead, I find myself wondering, if the algorithm creates perfect compatibility, does it matter how we got there? If I never check her phone, never confirm my suspicions, could we be happy? My doorbell just rang. It's her, arriving exactly when I subconsciously prefer dinner to start. Right on schedule. Story 3. The Voice. The voicemail came 3 weeks after Natalie died. "Hey babe, I'm running late. Meeting went long, save me some pizza." Her voice was identical. That slight rasp, the way she always ended sentences on an upward inflection like everything was a half question. The timestamp showed 6:14 p.m., exactly 18 minutes ago. I stood in my kitchen, pizza box open on the counter, phone clutched so tightly my knuckles whitened. My throat closed around the response to a dead woman. Natalie had died in a car accident. I identified her body. I scattered her ashes in the Pacific as she'd wanted. This wasn't possible. I played it again. Then again. By the fifth replay, I was sitting on the kitchen floor, back against the refrigerator, surrounded by the pizza that was growing cold. The pizza I'd ordered because today marked 3 weeks without her, and Hawaiian had been her favorite, and I thought somehow eating it might make me feel closer to her. I called her number, disconnected, as it had been since I canceled her phone service 2 weeks ago. I checked my call history. The incoming call showed her old number. I called Verizon. "I'm sorry, sir, but that number hasn't been reassigned yet. It's still in the standard holding period after discontinuation." I contacted the police. The officer who took my statement had the careful blank expression people use when they think you're losing your grip. He explained about grief hallucinations, stress responses, suggested a therapist. But I hadn't imagined it. The voicemail was still there. The next one came 2 days later. "Stuck in traffic. Don't forget to water my orchids." I ran to check the orchids Natalie had loved, which I'd been neglecting. They were withered, dying. I watered them with shaking hands, spilling half the cup on the hardwood. "This isn't happening," I said aloud to my empty apartment. "You're dead." I watched them close the cremation chamber. The third message arrived at 3:17 a.m. "You never check the glove compartment." I was out of bed and in my car before I even processed the words, sitting in the dark garage with the dome light on, reaching for the glove compartment of the car Natalie never drove. Inside was a folded piece of paper that hadn't been there before. Couldn't have been there before because I'd cleaned out the car thoroughly after she died. Her handwriting. A list titled "When I'm Gone," with little things she wanted me to do. Feed the birds at her favorite park. Finish watching that series we'd started together. Call her mother on her birthday. The last item. "Move on, please. It's okay." I took the paper inside, placed it carefully on the kitchen table, and called her best friend Taylor. "Did you put something in my glove compartment?" I asked without greeting. Taylor's voice was thick with sleep. "What?" "Michael, it's the middle of the night. The list, in Natalie's handwriting. Did you put it there?" A long pause. "What list? Michael, you're scaring me." I hung up and sat staring at the paper until dawn broke. The voicemails continued, always Natalie's voice, always mentioning things only she would know, things happening in real time. The neighbor's dog got out again. I just saw Mrs. Chen chasing him down the block. When I checked, there was Mrs. Chen, returning with her corgi. "Your mom called my old number again. She still hasn't saved your new one." A text from my mother minutes later. "Tried calling. Got a disconnected message. What's your number again?" I began waiting for the messages, anticipating them, responding to them aloud in my empty apartment. In a twisted way, Natalie was still part of my daily life, still commenting on small moments, still reminding me of errands, still somehow aware of my existence. I stopped telling people about the messages after seeing the therapist Taylor insisted I visit. The diagnosis was unambiguous. Complicated grief with psychotic features. The prescription bottles lined up on my bathroom counter, untouched. 6 weeks after the first message, I came home to find a familiar perfume lingering in the air. Natalie's scent. The voicemail light was blinking. "I can't do this anymore," her voice said, sounding tired for the first time. "It hurts too much, seeing you like this. I've been trying to help you adjust, but I'm just keeping you trapped. You need to move on." "No," I said aloud, "please. I need these messages." "Tonight is the last one," her voice continued as if she'd anticipated my response. "I've held on too long already. Complete the list, Michael, please, for both of us." That night, I finally took the list to Riverside Park. I sat on Natalie's favorite bench and methodically checked off each item. Feed the birds, call her mother, finish our series, all complete. Only the last item remained unchecked. Move on. As the sun set, I folded the list and placed it under a stone on the bench. "Okay," I whispered. "I'll try." My phone rang immediately. Natalie's number. Not a voicemail this time, an actual call. My hand trembled as I answered but said nothing. The line carried soft static like gentle waves. Then 3 words, in a voice already fading, growing distant. "I love you." The call disconnected. When I tried to call back, the number was invalid. That night, I finally took the first pill from one of the orange bottles. The voicemails never came again. Sometimes I still speak aloud to my empty apartment, but no one responds. I water the orchids, which are slowly recovering. I feed the birds at the park. Yesterday, I deleted Natalie's contact information from my phone. As I did, a text came through from an unknown number. "Good job, remember the list." When I checked my contacts, the number wasn't there. When I tried to call it, a computerized voice said it didn't exist. But I've kept those final words, the last text, not as proof. I've given up trying to prove anything, but as permission. Permission to move forward while carrying her with me. I just wish I knew for certain if I'd actually heard her voice, or if my broken mind had created what it needed to heal. Story 4. The replacement, Maya, had changed. Not all at once, but in subtle, unsettling ways. It started after our breakup. Her suggestion we remain friends surprised me, considering she'd ended our 2-year relationship over irreconcilable differences. I was grateful for any chance to keep her in my life. The first oddity was at our old coffee spot. Maya ordered an almond milk latte with caramel, something she'd always said ruined the espresso. When I questioned it, she hesitated, then smiled. "People change, Eli. I'm trying new things." But more discrepancies appeared. The once punctual Maya began showing up late. My vegetarian ex ordered steak without comment. She stopped biting her lip when thinking and instead twisted her hair, a gesture I'd never seen. She recalled details about our anniversary trip to Montreal French bistros, late-night walks, but we'd eaten Italian every night because she'd gotten food poisoning. Maya had never been to Montreal except with me. I started testing her, inventing memories and mutual friends. She played along, never missing a beat, weaving stories about people who didn't exist. My unease turned to dread when I found her in my apartment building's lobby, with no reason to be there. She claimed to be visiting a tenant I'd never heard of, in a building with only 8 units. That night, I scrolled through her Instagram. The recent photos matched the Maya I'd been seeing, but older posts showed subtle differences. The Maya I'd dated had a small scar by her eyebrow. This Maya's face was flawless. I called her sister. Her voice was cold. "Why are you calling, Eli? Haven't you done enough?" "What do you mean?" "After what happened to Maya, your harassment, the funeral." "Funeral?" My blood ran cold. A long pause. "Maya died 3 months ago, the car accident. You were there. You were driving." The phone slipped from my hand. Maya had broken up with me 3 months ago. We'd been meeting weekly since. I'd just seen her yesterday. Desperate, I drove to our old apartment. The mailbox now read L. Shang. The woman who answered looked like Maya from a distance, but wasn't her. "I'm Lynn," she said, pity in her eyes. "Maya's cousin. I moved here after she died. The family wanted someone to keep an eye on things. Maya isn't dead. We meet for coffee, movie nights, lunch at the pier." Lynn's face paled. "You need to stop. The police warned you after the accident, after you walked away without a scratch. You insisted she was alive. The restraining order should have made it clear, stay away." I backed away, shaking. "This isn't possible. I just saw her." "Grief does strange things," Lynn said quietly. "Get help, Eli." That night, I pored over our photo album. Every picture of Maya looked slightly off features, just different enough from the woman I'd been seeing. Then my phone buzzed. "Still on for coffee tomorrow, Maya?" Against all reason, I replied, "Yes." At the cafe, I watched the door. She entered, Maya's smile, but not quite her eyes. "How was your weekend?" she asked, sipping her caramel latte. "Why are you doing this? Who are you?" Her smile didn't falter. "I'm Maya. You're Maya." "Maya Chen died 3 months ago. I was driving." She reached for my hand. "Is that what they told you? That I died? That you were responsible?" "My cousin lives in your apartment," I pressed. "She moved in after I left you," she said. "My family never approved of us. When I broke things off, they saw a chance to keep you away." Her explanation was tempting. Easier than believing I'd been meeting a ghost, or worse, a delusion. "I need to go," I said, pulling away. That afternoon, at the county records office, the clerk looked at me with concern. "Mr. Sanderson, you've requested this file 6 times this month." She handed me the accident report. Maya Chen, 28, pronounced dead at the scene. Elijah Sanderson, 29, transported to psychiatric services after insisting the victim was alive. My coffee meetings, our conversations, all figments of a fractured mind. Yet, when I left, there she was, waiting by my car. "They're trying to make you think you're crazy," she said. "But I'm real. Touch me." Her skin was warm, her pulse steady. "Come with me," she said. "I'll prove it." Her apartment was arranged exactly as ours had been, the same books, the same clothes, her childhood teddy bear on the bed. Relief flooded me. Maya was alive. That night, I slept peacefully for the first time in months, Maya curled beside me. But in the morning, the sheets were cold. A note on the pillow. "Back soon. Love you." Making coffee, I noticed every book spine bore the same publisher's logo, even on titles I knew came from different houses. I opened one, blank pages. Every clothing tag in the closet had the same brand. The teddy bear Maya's Mr. Buttons had 2 perfect glass eyes, not one replaced with a button. This wasn't Maya's life. It was a reconstruction by someone who only knew the broad strokes. When the door opened, I was waiting. "You're not Maya." She set down groceries. "Don't start this again, Eli." Maya's bear had 1 eye, her books weren't props. For a moment, her face stayed Maya's. Then it shifted, subtly but unmistakably, into a mask of clinical assessment. "You were doing so well," she said, her cadence suddenly different. "We were making real progress." "We?" "Your treatment team felt traditional therapy wasn't breaking through your delusions. This immersion approach was experimental but promising." "You're my therapist, pretending to be my dead girlfriend?" "Not exactly," she said, lifting her phone. "Dr. Winters, he's becoming aware again." I noticed a faint scar at her hairline, partly concealed by makeup. "What did they do to you?" "Cosmetic adjustments, voice training, all to help you process your trauma and accept reality." "This is insane." "No," she said gently. "What's insane is that you've been living with a corpse for 3 months." My world tilted. The accident was real. Maya died. But you couldn't accept it. You took her body from the morgue. You've been keeping it in your apartment, talking to it, sleeping beside it. The neighbors called the police because of the smell. I backed away. "You're lying." "The family agreed not to press charges if you committed to treatment. This immersion therapy was a last resort." Memories surfaced, the weight of Maya in my arms. The chemicals, the makeup. "No, I've been meeting Maya for coffee. Real coffee shops." "You've been meeting me, while another team removed the remains from your apartment. Check your phone's location history. You haven't left this address for weeks." I checked. The history showed only this building. "Maya will be back any minute," I insisted. "Eli," her voice was gentle. "It's time to let her go." A knock at the door. A man in a lab coat entered, flanked by orderlies. "Hello, Eli," the doctor said. "I hear you've had a breakthrough today." As they led me away, the woman removed her wig, revealing short, dark hair. She nodded, not unkindly. Which is the greater mercy, believing in a dead woman walking, or accepting I'd been embracing a corpse? Perhaps neither. Perhaps mercy is forgetting altogether. As the orderlies guided me down the hall, my phone vibrated. One new message. Still on for coffee tomorrow? Maya. Story 5, The Empty Frame. The photographs disappeared one by one. I first noticed when the beach picture vanished from the mantel. Diane and me in Maui, the sunset turning her hair to fire. I searched everywhere. Junk drawer, behind the mantel, beneath the couch. The frame remained empty. Did you move our Hawaii picture? I asked when Diane got home. She glanced at the empty frame. No. Did you check if it fell out? I had, no photo anywhere, just an empty frame where our happiness had been. We shrugged it off. Things get lost. But 3 days later, our engagement photo disappeared from the hallway, then our wedding portrait from the bedroom wall. Each time, the frame was left exactly in place, but the photo was gone. Is this some kind of statement? I asked after the 6th disappearance. About us? Diane looked genuinely puzzled. Why would I destroy our photos? They're my memories too, Jason. Who else has a key to our house? Nobody, she said, but hesitated. Unless you gave one to someone. The accusation hung in the air. Our relationship had been strained lately. Her long hours, my resentment, arguments that faded into silence. I didn't give anyone a key, I said. That night, lying beside her, I remembered the only other person who'd had a key, Rebecca, my ex. The breakup had been messy late-night calls, surprise visits, a scene at work. She'd eventually returned my key, but could she have made a copy? I hadn't heard from Rebecca in years, but the vanishing photos felt like her brand of psychological warfare. The next morning, I installed a security camera facing the front door without telling Diane. If Rebecca was breaking in, I'd catch her. 2 days passed. Then, while we were both at work, my phone alerted me to motion at the door. I pulled up the app, expecting Rebecca. Instead, I watched Diane unlock the door at 2:17 p.m. 3 hours before she normally came home. She entered, closed the door, and disappeared from view. 17 minutes later, she left again, looking unchanged. I checked our bedroom camera. It showed her entering, carefully removing a photo, our honeymoon in Greece, from its frame, slipping into her purse, then replacing the empty frame. My hands shook as I watched the footage again. Why would Diane erase our photographic history? I didn't confront her that evening. Instead, I waited until she was asleep, then checked her purse. Empty. I searched her car. Nothing. The photos weren't being relocated, they were being destroyed. A weekend I followed her. She went to yoga, then drove to a small house in a neighborhood I didn't recognize. She used a key to enter. She stayed 47 minutes. When she emerged, a man followed her onto the porch. They embraced, not romantically, but with the comfort of old friends. He was older, balding, wire-rimmed glasses. I took a photo, then drove home, my insides twisted. Was this man the reason for the disappearing photos? Was Diane erasing me from her life, piece by piece? The night at dinner, I placed my phone on the table, displaying the photo of Diane and the stranger. Who is he? I asked. She stared at the image, color draining from her face. You followed me. Who is he, Diane? Dr. Mercer, my therapist. Since when do you have a therapist? Since things started falling apart, she said, since I needed one. And does your therapist conduct sessions at his home? It's not his home, it's a counseling center. He rents the space. I pulled up the property records. The house was registered to Gerald Mercer. Try again, I said. It's complicated, she whispered. Like our missing photographs, is that complicated too? Her eyes widened, surprise, then recognition. You know about the photographs, she said slowly. I watched you take one. Yesterday, our Greece photo. I leaned forward. Why, Diane? Why are you destroying our memories? I'm not destroying them. She stood, went to the kitchen, and returned with a large manila envelope. I'm protecting them. She emptied the envelope onto the table. All our missing photographs intact. I don't understand, I said. Dr. Mercer specializes in unusual situations. He's been helping me document things. What things? Changes. She selected our wedding photo. Look at it. Really, look. I studied the image. Diane in white, me in my charcoal suit, both of us laughing as we fed each other cake. What am I looking for? I asked. Your tie, she said quietly. What color is it? Blue, navy blue. It was burgundy, Jason. Your favorite burgundy tie, the one your father gave you. I frowned. No, I wore the blue one. I decided last minute because it matched your sapphire earrings. I wasn't wearing sapphires. I wore my grandmother's pearls. She pointed. Look. In the photograph, diamond studs glinted from her ears. Not pearls, not sapphires. This isn't our wedding photo, I said. This is doctored. It's not doctored, it's changing. She spread out more photos. Our Hawaii trip. You had a sunburn in the original. In this version, you don't. Our engagement photo. I was wearing the green dress, not this black one. I stared at them, unease creeping up my spine. They were undeniably us, undeniably our moments, but with subtle wrongness throughout. This is crazy, I said. Photos don't change. That's what I thought. I noticed the first change 3 months ago. I thought I was losing my mind, so I started removing them for comparison. Dr. Mercer has been helping me document differences. Your therapist believes photographs are spontaneously changing. He believes something is happening, yes. I pushed back from the table. This is insane. You're... Jason, she interrupted. What color was our first car? Red. That beat-up Honda Civic. It was blue. We had a photo of us beside it in the driveway. Now, in that photo, it's green. Where's the photo now? Gone. Gone how? Blank. The car disappeared from the image last week. Now, it's just us standing in the driveway, pointing at nothing. A chill ran through me. Show me. She retrieved another envelope, hands trembling, and withdrew a photograph. It showed us in our old driveway, arms extended toward empty space, our faces alight with excitement over nothing. This doesn't make sense, I whispered. There's more. She pulled out her phone. I've been documenting everything digitally, too. She showed me a photo dated 6 months ago, the same driveway, but with a blue Honda Civic where emptiness now resided. Digital photos can be altered, I said, but my conviction wavered. Jason, something is happening to our history. Dr. Mercer thinks... I don't care what your secret therapist thinks, I snapped. This is some kind of elaborate gaslighting. Why would I gaslight myself? Diane asked quietly. I'm the one who noticed it first. I'm the one terrified by it. I had no answer. The evidence was spread across our dining table, photographs with subtle wrongness, memories that didn't quite align. There's something else, she said after a long silence. Dr. Mercer thinks the changes, they're getting bigger, moving beyond photographs. What does that mean? Last week, my parents called to ask about our Montana trip. We've never been to Montana, Jason, but they had vivid memories of us sending postcards, calling them from Glacier National Park. My stomach dropped. My mother asked me about a concert we supposedly attended in Chicago last year. Diane nodded grimly. It's accelerating. Our shared history is being rewritten, not just in images but in memories. Everyone's memories except our own. But why? How? Dr. Mercer thinks... She hesitated. He thinks it might be connected to the accident. What accident? Her face went blank. The car accident. 3 months ago. We haven't been in any accident. Diane's eyes filled with tears. You don't remember the truck that hit us? Your concussion? The week you spent in the hospital? I laughed uncomfortably. That never happened, Diane. She pulled up her sleeve, revealing a long scar I'd never seen before. The doctor said you might have memory issues, but nothing like this. My head spun. That scar. Where did that come from? The accident, she whispered. The accident you don't remember. A sudden, stabbing pain behind my eyes made me wince. For an instant, I saw a flash of headlights, heard the screech of brakes, felt the crushing impact. What's happening to us? I whispered. Dr. Mercer thinks reality is fracturing around us. The accident was a nexus point, a moment when something fundamental changed. That's insane. Is it more insane than photographs that change, than memories that don't align? Look at your arm, Jason. I glanced down. A jagged scar ran from my wrist to my elbow. A scar I'd never seen before, yet undeniably present. This isn't possible, I said, but the words sounded hollow. That night, we slept fitfully, clinging to each other as if physical connection might anchor us to a shared reality. In the morning, Diane was gone. A note on her pillow. Meeting Dr. Mercer. Back by noon. I dozed off again. When I woke, sunlight streamed through unfamiliar curtains. The bedroom was wrong. The furniture arrangement different. The wall color changed from blue to beige. Panicked, I jumped up. The entire house had transformed, subtle differences in layout. Decor, even the view from our windows, showed neighboring houses that had never been there before. I called Diane. No answer. I texted, "Something's happening to the house." Her reply came immediately. "I know. I'm not with Dr. Mercer. There is no Dr. Mercer. I looked him up. The practice doesn't exist." Cold dread filled me. "Where are you?" "At my parents', or what should be my parents' house. Strangers live here now. My parents' number is disconnected." I rushed to our dining table where we'd left the photographs. Empty, no manila envelope, no scattered pictures. I drove to what should have been her parents' house. Diane stood on the sidewalk, staring at a blue colonial that had replaced the brick ranch her parents had owned for 30 years. "They don't exist here," she said, her voice eerily calm. I tried calling my sister. Her number belongs to someone in Arizona who's never heard of me. "We need to go back," I said. "Figure this out. Maybe we're both having some kind of shared psychotic break." "It's not in our heads," she interrupted. "Look." She held out her phone. On the screen was our wedding photo, but I wasn't in it. Instead, Diane stood beside a tall blonde man I'd never seen before, both of them beaming as they cut their cake. "Who is that?" I asked, my voice a stranger's. "According to the metadata, that's Andrew Phillips, my husband." My legs gave out. I sank to the curb, head spinning. This isn't happening. It is happening, and it's spreading. Diane sat beside me, her voice calm but tight with terror. "We're being erased, Jason. Or rewritten. Our reality is being overwritten by another one. How do we stop it? I don't know if we can." That night, we checked into a hotel, afraid to return to a house that might no longer recognize us. We spread printouts of our photographs on the bed, documenting each anomaly, searching for patterns. "It started after what you remember as the accident," I said. "That seems to be the divergence point." Diane nodded. "In this reality, we had an accident. In the original one, our reality, we didn't. But which is real?" I asked. "Both. Neither. I don't know anymore." We fell asleep, surrounded by fragments of disappearing lives. I woke to Diane's scream. She stood by the bathroom mirror, hands covering her mouth. "My face," she whispered. "Look at my face." Her features had subtly shifted, nose slightly narrower, eyes a different shape, hair a shade darker. "It's happening to us now," she whispered, "not just our surroundings." By evening, we hardly recognized each other. The changes were accelerating. My wedding ring vanished during dinner. Diane's cell phone contacts replaced themselves completely. No trace of her friends, family, our shared acquaintances. "We need to find the accident site," I said suddenly. "If that's where it started, maybe that's where we can stop it." We drove to the freeway intersection where Diane believed the accident had occurred. Nothing looked familiar to me, but something pulled at my consciousness as we approached. "Here," she said. "It happened here." We stood on the roadside as cars whipped past. Nothing unusual marked the spot. No skid marks, no damaged guardrail, just ordinary asphalt. "Now what?" I asked. Diane took my hand, a hand that felt increasingly unfamiliar. "I don't know. I just know I love you. Whatever reality we're in, I love you." As she spoke, a blinding pain shot through my temple. Visions flooded my mind, the truck swerving into our lane, Diane's scream, the crushing impact, then darkness. But something else, two paramedics declaring me dead at the scene, Diane surviving, broken and alone. "I died," I whispered, "in the accident. I died." Diane's eyes widened. "No, you were injured but alive. That's one version." The truth was crystallizing, terrible and clear. In the real version, I died, and you couldn't accept it. "That's not. Reality is fracturing because it's trying to correct itself," I continued, the knowledge flowing through me from some unknown source. "I'm not supposed to be here, Diane." Tears streamed down her increasingly unfamiliar face. I didn't do anything, I swear. But something in her eyes told me otherwise. "What did you do?" I whispered. "After the accident? What did you do?" She closed her eyes. "There was a woman. She said she could help, that sometimes reality is flexible at points of extreme trauma, that with the right focus, the right determination, I could bend it. You changed what happened. I couldn't live without you," she cried. "I couldn't accept a world where you were gone. But reality doesn't work that way. It's trying to correct itself. That's why everything is changing around us. The universe is trying to return to its proper path." As I spoke, I felt a strange lightness, as if my body was becoming less substantial. Diane reached for me, her hand passing partially through mine. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I didn't know it would do this. I just wanted you back." "You have to let me go," I said gently. "It's the only way." "I can't. You have to, or we'll both disappear into some half-existence, neither dead nor truly alive. Let me go, Diane." She closed her eyes, tears streaming down her face. A face I barely recognized now. I don't know how. "Yes, you do. The same way you brought me back. Focus. Accept the truth. Accept what really happened." Around us, the world seemed to waver, like heat rising from summer asphalt. Diane opened her eyes, looked at me one last time. "I love you," she whispered, "in every reality. I love you too. Always have, always will." She nodded once, then closed her eyes again. Her lips moved silently, letting go, accepting, surrendering to what should have been. I felt myself fading, memories rushing back. The accident, the brief pain, then the peace that followed. Reality asserting itself, reclaiming its narrative. The last thing I saw was Diane opening her eyes to an empty space where I had stood, her face transforming back to the one I'd always loved. Tears streaming down her cheeks as she stood alone on the roadside, finally accepting what had always been true. I was gone, and all the photographs in our home would show only her now, standing alone in moments that once held us both. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more horror stories on Moonlit Scarecrow.